Hello to all the commerce students. Here I am, CS Radhma Mishra, practicing company secretary, and I am bringing you a very interesting and a scoring subject, which is a company law. The students who are pursuing for the professional courses like CA, CA, CMA, or any kind of a graduation courses in the field of the commerce, this subject has been considered as a core subject. Now, what is a company law? Any law which is created for the company or the company is bound to act in accordance with the Companies Act 2013 is known as a company law. Before going into the details of the Companies Act 2013, let's learn what is a company and about its features. Now, what is a company? A company is a combination of the major four features, which is the artificial person, perpetual succession, common seal, and a separate legal identity. Now, first feature comes the artificial person. Artificial person, it means the company also act like an individual like us. Yes, because the company has its own name, has its own registration, has its own place of registration, can act, can enter into any kind of a contract, act in its own name, its own identification. So, a company act as an artificial person. Second feature comes the perpetual succession. Perpetual succession means a company has its own life. It is unaffected by the entrance and the exit of the members. The members may come, the members may go, but the company goes on till it is wound up in the eyes of law. Third come the common seal. A common seal is just like the identification mark or the stamp that we put on the documents in the name of the company. So every company has its own name of common seal. The fourth important feature which come is separate legal identity. As an artificial person, a company has its separate legal identity, like we have our own name, our own identity. Like that only company has its own name, his own identity, and is also capable of entering into any kind of a contract in its own name. So when these four features are being combined, the definition of a company is formed. This is a simple definition which is written in the examination. A company is an artificial person having the separate legal identity with perpetual succession and a common seal created under the Companies Act 2013. Now the Companies Act was previously was Companies Act 1956. Now comes the features of the company. Yes, now we'll be getting towards the details of the features of the company. The first feature come, which is the artificial person. As I told you before, artificial person, that a company act as an individual created under the eyes of a law. It has its own name, can be sued and can sue to the other parties in its own name, and is capable of entering into the contracts in its own name. So it completely act as a person which is artificially created under the eyes of law. Second comes the separate legal identity. As I told you before, same just like what I told in artificial person, that it has a separate legal identity from its members. The identity of a members is not the considered as the identity of a company, because it has its own name, it has its own certificate of incorporation or the registration, its own assets and the property which is separated by its members. So it enjoys the separate legal identity from its members. Third comes the has nationality and the citizenship. Just like when we are born, we have the birth certificate which defines the nationality and the citizenship. Like that only when the company is incorporated or registered, a certificate of incorporation is being issued by the government India, which define its nationality and the citizenship. Now the fourth comes the limited liability. This point is important as the company enjoys the limited liability, or the members of the company mostly enjoy the limited liability, because their liability to pay the due debts which is created by the company uh, is only extended up to the contribution of the capital which is being contributed by the shareholder in the company. Means they do not have to pay the due debts from their personal property. Only they have to pay that due debts till the contribution of the they have done towards the capital of the company. So that is means that it is a limited liability. And when any company is formed as an unlimited company, their liability is converted from a limited to unlimited, which means they have to pay that due debt if any remaining balance from the personal property. Am I making it clear? So there are the certain exceptions of the limited liability also. Yes. Now here I've put up some points. Let me briefly explain you. There is one thing only, that if any misrepresentation or any fraudulent activity which is conducted by any member or by the company, then the limited liability get converts into the unlimited liability. That is but obvious, a company cannot do it on its own. Members are only responsible for doing any fraudulent activity or any misrepresentation in the name of a company. Okay, because the company act as an artificial individual, so the any fraudulent activity which is done by the company, the limited liability turns into the unlimited liability. So they here are the certain points. For example, if the number of our members get reduced below the minimum requirement. There are the certain requirements in accordance with the Companies Act 2013, that there should be minimum number of members in such kind of a company. If those goes below, those are reduced below that minimum requirement, and still the business has been carried for more than 6 months. Obviously, it's a fraudulent activity, so there the limited liability will be converted into the unlimited liability. Second, if the company is been incorporated as an unlimited company, I told you before, unlimited company means the company has liability extended up to the personal property of the members. Third point, the company is incorporated by furnishing false or the incorrect statement. In the course of winding up, it appears that the business of the company has been carried on with an intent to default the creditors. Any intention to default the creditors, any intention to do any kind of a fraudulent activity, illegal activity, or misrepresentation, the limited liability will be converted into unlimited liability. Here also you can see, if the company fails to any kind of a deposit, if in the prospectus of the company while issuing the shares of a company there is any kind of a misrepresentation like written, it is fraudulent activity. Okay, where inspector report states that the any director, KMP or officer, the key managerial personnel or means the senior management, has taken the undue advantage of their position. They have, because a company cannot do it on its own. The members of the company, or the members, what should I say, the senior members, the directors, they only do all the acts on the name of the company. So if any act which is done by those members, the illegal acts, so the limited liability will be converted into the unlimited liability. Now the fifth features come, the perpetual succession. I already told you that the life of the company goes on. It is unaffected by the entry and the exit of a members. The member may come, the member may go, but the company goes on till it is wound up in the eyes of a law. It is formed in the eyes of law, it is wound up in the eyes of a law. So the sixth comes separate property. Being having a separate legal identity, it also have a separate property. The assets and the liabilities of the company are separated from its members. So a member cannot claim the property of the company. Now transferability of the shares. Now the capital of a company is divided into shares. What is a share? Whenever a company wants to raise any kind of a capital, it issue the shares to the public. Any person who wants to contribute certain capital into kind of a company, want to invest the capital in a company, he buys those shares of that company. So it's just an exchange of a capital from the shares. Okay, you contribute or you put the money in any kind of a company, you will get the share of that company. So transferability of the share means that a company gives the full powers to its member to transfer their shares from the one member to the other member. Now the eighth comes, the capacity to sue and be sued. Being having a separate legal identity, a company has its power to sue to the other party and to be sued in its own name. Now come the contractual rights. Contractual rights means that the company is capable of entering into any kind of a contract in its own name. A shareholder cannot enforce a contract made by his company. A shareholder is not involved in that contract. That contract is completely separated in the name of a company. Now to the 10th point come, which is the important point, the limitation of the action. Whenever a company forms, there are the two books which defines the objects and a power and the rules and regulations. The objects and powers are be defined by the memorandum of association. The rules and regulation are be defined by the articles of association. And the memorandum and articles are be prepared in accordance with the Companies Act 2013. Okay. So every company has a limitation to act only in accordance which is written in its memorandum of association. Anything which is done beyond the scope of the memorandum will be considered as ultra virus. Now here I have just written about the key features of the Companies Act 2013 just for the general knowledge. The question won't be coming in the exam. So, Companies Act was passed by the Parliament and was approved by the President of India on 29th August 2013. Some provision of the CA 1956 are still in force. Yes, there are the certain provisions that was merged in the Companies Act 2013 and not been changed. Companies Act 2013 has been divided into number of schedules 7, number of chapters 29, number of section 470. This is important but won't be coming in exams, can come in the objective questions. So don't have to learn all the sections 470, don't worry. The law is very big, the Companies Act is very big. You just have to go through the certain important section that will be highlighted. I'll be highlighting in the further lessons. Okay, now here come the last but not the least, the doctrine of lifting off or piercing the corporate field. This is a very important doctrine. Remember that. And yes, before entering into this, let me remind you there are the certain case laws which is written in the module. Go through it. Those case laws are very important. Okay, don't mess it out. Just read it, go through it once, because the question usually the question come in accordance with the case law. You have to identify that this case law is related to which feature of the company. Okay, so now here say the doctrine of the lifting or piercing the corporate wheel. What is a wheel? It's just like the parda. Okay, when this corporate parda or corporate wheel is been lifted by the court, in case the court find that there is any fraudulent activity or misrepresentation is being done by the company, so it won't consider the members separated from that company. No, it will combine the members with the company and take it at as a one party, and take certain action against the members also and against the company also. Okay, so just read the second point. The court will break through the corporate shell when any fraudulent and dishonest use is made of the legal entity, and it shall take the legal action by looking behind the corporate entity as though no member is separated from the company. Here the feature of that separate legal identity gets eliminated. So this is the applicability of the doctrine of lifting of corporate wheel. And there is also one case law which is defined, so just go through it, and this doctrine is very important. So at the last, thank you so much guys for listening me, and this is CS Ritama signing off with the introduction of the company law. In the further lessons, I'll be teaching and getting into the details of the Companies Act 2013. So thank you so much.